Hi there, I'm Patrick and welcome to our midweek highlight show from the stadium. We've had lots of sporting action over the past week. Motorcycle GP, Formula 1, but it was all about the Commonwealth Games. And once again, Australia stamped their mark as the former empire's sporting powerhouse. The Aussies have so far garnered double the gold medal tally amassed by teams from England or even host India in the standings, and they pretty much dominated the aquatic events. Malaysia, meanwhile, are closing in on their 10 gold medal target. Weightlifting, shooting, cycling, squash, badminton and diving have all delivered gold. And Sarawakian Pandilela Renong Pamak met predictions by winning the 10-meter platform goal, this after bagging silver in the synchronized event with Leong Man Yi. The 2010 Games will conclude this week. Now, despite having great facilities, the crowds seem to have just shied away from the stadiums. And I somewhat get the feeling that certain quarters want to see the Games fail, just like all the bad press ahead of the World Cup in South Africa. But the negative news is plain brutal in India. Reports such as bugs in the aquatics pool, timing systems not integrated, ticketing fraud, and that must be a botched project as the stadiums are barely filled. And there's the one about the condoms. Yes, condoms were reportedly the cause of clogged plumbing at the Athletes Village. But CWG head Mike Fennell said he was happy that they were doing the jiggy with a cappy. Organisers in India have allocated 8,000 condoms and so far 4,000 have been snapped up by the athletes. Do I look shocked? No, because that's a far cry from the raging hormones at the Olympics. In Sydney 2000, nearly 90,000 condoms were distributed. In Beijing, it was 100,000, but it was party times in Athens 2004 as organisers distributed over 130,000 condoms. Now that has to be the new Olympic spirits: faster, stronger, higher and safer. Speaking of faster, there was lots of racing action over the weekend. Two world champions were crowned at the Malaysian Motorcycle Grand Prix in Sepang. In the inaugural Moto 2 category, Spaniard Tony Elias captured his first world title in the recategorized 250cc class. With 3 races left in the season, Elias has an unassailable lead in the standings. Same is to be said of compatriot Jorge Lorenzo in the Premier Class MotoGP Championship. Lorenzo captured the world title from teammate Valentino Rossi despite finishing third in Sepang on Sunday. It was one of the most thrilling races of the season, with Lorenzo, Rossi and Repsol's Andrea Dovizioso all locked in a 3-way battle. Eventually, after 20 laps, it was Rossi who claimed the battle, and Lorenzo was the one who won the war. This weekend, it's Phillip Island in Australia, before the season wraps up with races in Portugal and Spain. Formula 1 too has 3 races left in the season, and things are certainly heating up in the driver standings after last weekend's Japanese Grand Prix. Red Bull pulled themselves back into winning form with another 1-2 finish. Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber were imperious from the start to finish. Ferrari's Fernando Alonso, well, he finished in third but is still in striking distance of the title. And here's how they finished in Japan. 4th and 5th were the McLaren boys, who had a torrid time on the track. Michael Schumacher had a good race, finishing in 6th. But the star performance was displayed by local hero Kamui Kobayashi in the Sauber, finishing ahead of teammate Nick Heidfeld. Rubens Barrichello and Toro Rosso's Sebastian Buemi rounded up the top 10. In the driver's standings, sees Mark Webber gaining extra points and now has a 14-point lead. Patel looked like he's mounting a challenge for the title as he is tied on 206 points with Alonso. The McLaren boys are in 4th and 5th, just like how they finished the race. It's status quo for 6th, 7th and 8th, while Schumi moves ahead of Adrian Sutil in the Force India. The next race will be held the following weekend, and it will be the first ever South Korean Grand Prix, as the FIA have given the green light for the race to take place after inspections were conducted on the brand new circuit earlier this week. On to football, well, not much to report as all the European leagues had a week off for the Euro 2012 qualifiers, but there was some footy action. That is, if you take the Malaysia Cup competition into account. Asia's longest running football competition moves into the quarterfinal stages. And this is how the teams finished in the round-robin group stage. In Group A, defending champions Negeri Sembilan topped the standings, tagging last year's runner-up Kelantan along for the ride. Meanwhile, over in Group B, Terengganu just scraped through on goal difference after Sabah failed to claim a win against Pahang in their final match. That result also saw the two-time champions advancing to the final 8. Club side Johor FC and Kedah progressed from Group C. Sadly for my home state, their dismal performance this season sees them crashing out along with the armed forces. And in Group D, 32-time champions Selangor booked their quarterfinal berth in style. 6 wins out of 6, 16 goals scored and conceding only 2. Definitely favourites for the title again. Perlis also advanced from that group. And this is how they will match up in the quarterfinals. Negeri will play Perlis. Terengganu, who last won the cup in 2001, will meet Kedah. Club side Johor FC are matched up against Pahang. And Selangor will have their work cut out for them when they meet Kelantan, who will want to redeem their failure to win their first ever Malaysia Cup title after coming so close last year. The home and away quarter-final matches will be played this week. I would love to talk about the biggest news that's been hogging the back of newspapers and even financial headlines. The news of Liverpool FC's impending sale, but we just don't have the time. Not that all the Reds fans haven't already said what they wanted to say. So with that, it's a wrap for this edition. Until next week's show, you stay safe.